Let's get a cup of tea for this TED Talk, shall we? Okay, hi, my name is Yane, and in this TED Talk, I'm going to talk about different economic theories over the years, and one of my favorites, and also how is this all involved into one specific topic. So pay attention. So if we go back on time, the first theory that was most likely, like everyone was saying, oh yes, you're right, we should follow that. I think it's one of the most dated ones. Okay, so this theory is the Heckscher-Ohlin theory. Basically, this theory says that if your country can easily produce something and abundantly produce it, you should export that. And I think that is not the case for everything. Let me tell you why. Now, let me tell you why I think this theory should not work, or we shouldn't take it even into consideration nowadays. So let's say Mexico is really good at producing apricots. Okay, so let's say that apricots are really easy and abundant to produce. So this theory says okay, you Mexico should just export to the world this apricot because that is the best thing you can do. And Mexico can be like, I don't think so, because apricots don't really generate us money and it will take us a lot of money to transport that to other countries. Now let me tell you why I think this theory should not work, or we shouldn't take it even into consideration nowadays. So let's say Mexico is really, and now let's say that Mexico has a factory of Apple and we have iPhones in here produced. But that theory says, no, since you produce a lot of apricots, you shouldn't be making iPhones in Mexico. And Mexico can be like, but why? If these iPhones create a lot more money, 1,000 times more than an apricot, or maybe more. And yeah, I don't know if you guys get it, but this theory basically doesn't take into consideration the labor cost or the transport cost that it may cost of a product. So I think this theory is wrong. Okay, so let's go to the future again and move to colors. Okay, so one of the theories that I really like is the new trade theory by Paul Krugman. It is good to know that this theory won a Nobel Prize in 2008. So to give into context, 2008 was a really bad year for a lot of countries, and the US went into a recession. But before we dive into those context, I'm going to explain what the neo theory talks about or believes in. So basically, the new trade theory says that a country should specialize in something, in a particular sector, and export a particular of products. So we can have Taiwan as an example. Taiwan is the lead country in chip manufacture. So that gives Taiwan a competitive advantage all over the countries. And why is that? Since Taiwan specializes on something, they are investing on that. So for example, if the US wanted to be at the same level of Taiwan, that would take the US 20 years. And why is that? Because Taiwan has invested already so much money and specialized on that sector that it will be really hard for another country to just take that place, So basically that just gives Taiwan a competitive advantage. And one thing about Paul Krugman that I don't like is that he is a Keynesian. And you may think, so we have, according to Investopedia, Keynesian economic, it is a macroeconomic theory of total spending in economy and its effects on output, employment, and inflation. Okay, so you may think well, that sounds good. That may be a really good solution if you're going into a recession. I think there's, of course, definitely better ways to stop a recession, but I think this one specifically is just going to give a short-term relief to the economy, and let me tell you why. So if we go back on time again, on 2019, the COVID pandemic started, right? And the US response to everything and all the chaos that was happening in the economy was to inject some money into the economy. So how did they did that? They basically did it by giving people from the US stimulus checks to help the economy go on. And you may think like, why is the government giving like free money to people? Like, how is that gonna help? So since everyone in the pandemic stopped like buying stuff, going to work, that of course caused like a decline in the economy, and people was not really spending their money. They were more like saving it in case of like something bigger happening, right? So the stimulus checks basically gave the opportunity for people to have like an extra money and spend it on more stuff. And when they spend more stuff, um, it basically helps the economy. So that's why there were a lot of memes and funny videos about Americans saying we're helping the economy by, I don't know, like buying this PlayStation that the government gave me the money to spend on. So it may be like a short term, good idea, but at the end, all of that money was not free, and at the end, the taxpayers have to pay for it. So I don't know. I don't think it's good. So, to finish all about these theories, I have so far my favorite one, which is the Michael Porter's theory. So, if you want to look more into it, you can look into Saylor.org, which is basically an academy. So, I'm going to read what does it says about the Porter's theory. So, the Porter's theory stated that a nation's competitiveness in an industry depends on the capacity of the industry to innovate and upgrade. His theory focused on explaining why some nations are more competitive in certain industries. So, taking that into consideration, I really liked it because in this theory, it does not limit a country to innovate. We have a lot of examples of that currently. So, let's say Japan. So, Japan was not the first country to create an auto, right? But in the recent years, they have been so innovative on that sector that they basically have a monopoly over it. They have Toyota, Nissan, Lexus, and a lot of brands basically of cars. And this theory, it is so easy to understand because it just gives access to any country. It does not limit you whenever if you have like the best of something, because we know Japanese cars may not be the best. Maybe other cars from other countries are the best. Let's say, for example, Germany, that they are really known for security, reliability, and a lot of other things. But Japan has been innovated in creating all types of products for all types of people around the world, and that is really good. So far, I really like this theory because it takes a lot into consideration. It takes labor cost. It also takes like logistics. Like, how good is it for a country to establish their facilities or manufacturing facilities in a country? And we also have that example in Toyota. We know that we have a Toyota plant on Tijuana, I think so. And there's also one in Indonesia. They also have ones in Japan. So they're basically establishing like points all around the world to keep their products available for everyone. So that's what I really like about this theory. Mexico's economy is on the rise, and an increasing number of foreign businesses like to do business in Mexico, and it looks like this will only increase in the future. Right now, Mexico sits in the perfect storm prepared for an economic boom. This is due to multiple factors both inside of Mexico and also outside in the changing international landscape. Mexico has relatively low labor costs, which attracts manufacturers looking to outsource their operations. Additionally, the country population can provide a lot of skilled labor, which makes doing businesses in Mexico even more attractive. And something that separates Mexico from all the other low cost manufacturing countries is one simple geographic reality, and that is that Mexico is the closest to the largest economy in the world, which is the United States. So basically, what I wanted to explain with this last topic is that we can really see the Michael Porter's theory that a country does not have to be like the best out of it, but it has to be ready to innovate and take the chances that not other countries are willing to take. And that's why I really like this case and how it is involved to all the theories, because theory is something, but then you have reality. So in this case, Mexico can be the new China in terms of supplying everything that the US might need.